Hello, and welcome back to Glorious Reacts. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce ourselves. I am your friend from down under, Arnold, and I am joined by the thriller from Manila, Joel. Say hi, Joel.
Dun 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 dun. Hi guys.
And our very own Singapore sling, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Hello, everyone. So, I wanted to start this segment by asking, what are we all drinking tonight?
Oh, what is a drink-filled night?
We're drinking drinks.
We're drinking drinks. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Paul is drinking water.
This is
Clear water.
very, very
Fragrant water.
fragrant water.
Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune series of books has been hotly anticipated since, arguably, the first attempt at a movie production of this massive story back in 1984. And after additional delays from the ongoing pandemic and, oddly enough, James Bond, it is nearly upon us. This means this is the best time for us three to hype ourselves into an unreasonable frenzy. This free watch are all about us establishing our individual excitement levels. As regarding the movie in context, in this case, Dune. We discuss how hyped or not we are, what factors affect our excitement to date, what expectations we have, and any theories we've already teased out. So, let's get right to it. Let's start off with the first point. How excited are we for Dune? Let's start off with Joe. First and foremost, I guess we have to establish who among us have actually bothered with reading the books.
I've read a portion of it.
I've read
a portion
Paul.
of it.
How many of us have actually watched either of the 1984 or the 2000 and was it 2000 and early 2000s?
There was a
TV
documentary
series.
about the 1984.
There was a documentary and there was a TV series that actually
Yeah, there's
also,
a TV show. Yeah, I remember the TV show.
that showed up. If I vaguely remember it during the early, have any of us actually?
I only
Seen
watched the Everything Wrong with the 1984
Right, the
dude.
documentary. Yes.
The Cinema Sins. No, the Cinema Sins
The YouTube video.
on YouTube, yeah.
I have not watched the old Dune movie or the TV show. What I have watched is there was a documentary I watched. Haradovsk. I wanna get his name right. There's some Spanish director's name.
I think this
The
was
director of the 1984 Dune.
But
Right?
but this documentary, no, it was a documentary about a Dune movie.
There was a
that was
Dune
never...
production. I think I
Oh,
know what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. There was a Dune production
yeah.
that did not happen.
Jaradovskovi? Jarad...
Yeah, we Paul will look it up so that we don't
I will
murder
look it
his
up.
name. But yes, there
Yeah.
was
Jodorowsky.
there was a unfinished
Yeah, I think something like that.
movie for
Yeah.
Dune, adaptation of Dune that happened after 1984.
Yeah.
That
Jodorowsky's
got
Dune.
a documentary. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So this establishes
Jodorowsky's Dune.
this establishes our level of knowledge, prior knowledge of this particular well-loved series.
Yeah.
With that said, how hyped are we? Let's start off with you, Paul.
Oh, I am to the moon hyped.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, if this was
Are you-
cryptocurrency,
are you-
I would say to the moon.
Can we say that you're actually high on spice right now?
High on spice. Old Spice.
Oh, different thing altogether, but sure.
Yeah, so I have a lot of friends who tell me that to read, who try to convince me to read the novels, and I want to get to that. I mean, I want to get to a point that I'm able to dedicate, a few years of my life reading the novel.
There are, I think, 5 books. There are
Yeah.
5 books. So
Yeah, so
wow.
I will get to that. But for now, I'm I'm happy. I'm very very happy that this movie is coming out. So my expectation for the movie is very
Wait,
high.
hang on.
But
Why are you hyping for this?
right. So I have to preface my hype level by saying that I'm hyped for the movie with what I've seen about the movie.
Yep.
I'm not gonna base it on whether it's what do they always say?
The faithful to
Faithful to the book or to the
Yeah.
novel.
Because
or,
we wouldn't know
the
any
source.
better.
Faithful to the source.
I
You
haven't
wouldn't know.
read.
Yeah.
To the source. So I'm basing it on what I've seen with the trailers. Okay, and then with what I've seen, the visuals are amazing. That one scene where they're standing in front of the sandworm
Oh yes.
and you
Yes.
see the scale of the worm compared to because I was always having this idea in my head that the sandworm in
Were they
Arrakis
worms?
were as big as the Sarlacc pits in is Tatooine in Star Wars, right?
Which is
But
their
these were
basis. They were based on
huge.
the sandworms.
They were based on the sandworms.
They
Yeah.
were-
But these things were huge when
A lot
we see
larger.
the scale in the trailer. It was huge.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they're that with the visual that you already have a feel of like how epic it's going to be just based on like the visuals that they've shown, like the armada, the fleets of the houses coming descending on Dune, and like you see the soldiers coming out of the ships, you know, and the war that's gonna happen, the anticipation of the conflict that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, visually it looks very it looks stunning. Now, the cast that they have for the movie is nothing to scarf off at.
Oh,
Because I'm looking down the list of the cast, and they're really really good actors there, right? But okay, so you have a lot of actors there that are really good, but I'm actually looking for and I don't know if this is more of a Marvel versus DC thing, but I'm looking forward more on seeing Momoa and Batista go at it. So it's and I don't know why, but it just feels like because we know that Batista is on the Harkonnen Underhouse Harkonnen, and Momoa is Underhouse Arcades, and we're gonna see a conflict, and I'm sure
for
that
sure.
we're gonna have that fight that we want to see, right? So I'm looking forward to that. But if you take a look at the cast that they have, they're all very good actors. Starting with Paul Atreides, who's going to be played by Timothy. I don't want to butcher his name.
Chalamet.
Chalamet. There you go. And I felt that he was too young to play Paul Atreides, but then I'm not gonna be because I don't know anything about it in the books. It just felt like because if you look at the visuals for the old movie,
Because the guy that they cast as Paul.
Yeah, the
was
Twin
older.
Peaks guy, right?
Wasn't McAvoy the Paul Atreides in the TV series?
I'm not. I have no idea about this.
I-
I'll have
Yeah.
a quick look somewhere, but go ahead, Paul. Keep going.
Yeah, so and then you have Zendaya.
Zendaya.
Is it Zendaya?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, it's Zendaya.
Zendaya. You have Zendaya. Why do? Okay, I always hear Zendaya. Okay, now Zendaya. Who I up until I think last week I did not know was actually Casey Undercover.
I don't know Casey Undercover.
Okay, Casey Undercover is like a Disney TV show where her parents were CIA agents.
Oh my gosh.
And
Are you
she had
serious?
she was drafted into the CIA by her parents because there was a spy brought to their school.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a TV show, so it's very in the similar vein as Hannah Montana, where Hannah Montana is
But this is a
girl
spy.
celebrity, like, but this is a girl spy in high school, something like that. But yeah, I mean, just and I'm basing this off just by watching the trailers, and I'm very very hyped for the movie. So I'm really excited it's coming out, and I can't wait. I really hope I'm not let down. I really hope.
To be fair, as you know, geeks with no credit for this particular IP. I mean, we're essentially an open book. We can be wowed to the moon and back merely by coming up with a good movie, right? With a good movie. So I think we're in for a ride. And just to clarify, it was Alec Newman who was actually who was actually Atreides, the young Paul Atreides.
Paul Atreides.
In a TV series. Joel, how hyped are you?
Oh, I think that I'm a little bit more hyped than the two of you.
Woohoo.
If Paul was hyped to the moon, I'm hyped to Mars.
Wow.
Further away. It's further afield.
Yeah, so I'm really hyped because, like I said, I have started reading the book. I actually wanted to finish the first book in time for the movie. I don't know if I will be able to finish it by the time that the movie comes out, but I'll try. I tried to read at least one chapter a day, but life got in the way, so I couldn't continue. Yeah, and then yeah. So I'm really hyped for the movie, and I read, or I think I heard it somewhere, that supposedly Dune is sci-fi's answer to Lord of the Rings, which is my all-time favorite fantasy book series / movies. So that's why
this
there's
parallelism
more
is setting up a lot of expectations.
yeah, it is. But I mean, based on the what Paul said, based on the visuals from the trailers, I think that they should be able. Hopefully, that they deliver. But yeah, we have a lot of really good visuals in the trailers and all of that. And yeah, I'm gonna just say what Paul said again. So the cast is really pretty good, and it's funny that Paul mentioned the DC versus Marvel, because the cast is actually composed of a lot of DC and Marvel actors. So aside from Chalamet, who is not on either side. No. And I actually also heard somewhere that he was brought aside by one of his co-actors. I'm trying to figure out who it was, and he was told by that senior actor to never do a superhero movie.
Oh, what?
So it's that having Chalamet in either a DC or a Marvel movie might not happen anytime soon.
All right.
But yeah, aside from him, the only other person among the more popular actors in the cast who is neither an MCU or a DC actor is actually Rebecca Ferguson, who became popular in the TV series White Queen and became a Bond girl.
Oh,
yeah, she was the Bond girl in the previous one, in the one before this, the one that just came out.
Skyfall.
Yeah,
Skyfall is the one prior to No Time to Die. Yep.
So yeah, so it's only the two of them are not connected to any of the two movie franchises. You've got Oscar Isaac, who's like Poe Dameron, and he's gonna be Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that he's already been slated for Moon Knight. So I was like,
yes,
he has no Billy. Oh, right. Nice.
Yes, he's Moon Knight. So he starts off your Marvel, and you've got Thanos himself, Josh Brolin.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Yes.
You've got Selvig, Stellan Skarsgård, who's playing the main Harkonnen guy.
Yeah. That's
and then you've got Dave Bautista,
Mm-hmm.
Drax. Also a Harkonnen.
Yes.
And then you've got Zendaya, she's a
Fremen. Yep.
Yeah. She's a Fremen. Oh, there's a third one, by the way, who's not in either franchise, but I do kind of want him for one of the roles on the DC side. On the DC side, you've got Momoa, of course, Aquaman.
Yep.
And you've got Das Malchen.
Yes.
Your favorite.
Oh, yes. I was so glad.
I
didn't even realize he was in this movie. And it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's in it. And the last one, the third, the Polka Dot Man, and the guy from, I think he also came out in the Batman trilogy.
He was also in Ant-Man.
The Dark Knight trilogy.
He was also in Ant-Man.
In Ant-Man as well. So he's the one who's in both. And the actor who is not on either side, but I want for one role in DC is of course Javier Bardem.
Mm.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, and I actually want him to be Darkseid for DC. So yeah, but yeah, just going through those 10 names, you already see the immense amount of talent that is in this film. So,
Yep.
and they're directed by Villeneuve. So who gave us that what was that
The Arrival?
contact? Oh no,
The Arrival.
The Arrival,
Yeah.
which I really loved.
And he also gave us
Uh,
2047, 2047,
Yeah,
2049.
2049 I think.
2049. So
Yeah.
the sequel
Blade Runner.
to Blade Runner.
Blade Runner 2049. Yeah. So you already know that the visuals are going to be really good.
Yep.
You know that the storytelling is going to be really good, and you've got this talented cast of actors. So it's oh my god, I'm just so really hyped for this.
Excellent. I mean, I'm as I've already mentioned at the top of the show, I have absolutely no prior experience with Dune apart from my French screaming Shaya Hulud whenever the sandworms show up. And I was like, what the hell is that? And they were actually going around explaining to me what the entire concept of Dune is, or what spice was and why it was so important and all that, and I couldn't care less. And then the movie came out, and I was like, all right, the trailer that they showed from back in 2020, from last year,
Mm.
really perked me up, and I was like, all right, I think I have to take. It did not give me enough motivation to read any of the books still, but I was very excited for this movie actually showing up. Same things as you guys. So when they showed up, I have no affinity for any of the characters as of yet, right? So just the billing for the for so the names of the characters, so the actors that they've decided to put into to adapt these characters on screen. I have yet to see what if they're gonna do anything that will be memorable for me. But Paul Atreides, I have no idea who Paul Atreides is. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is an interesting story, right? And I found out later on that a lot of, I mean, the I guess one of the most important sci-fi movies franchises ever to exist that have affected all of us, Star Wars, was significantly based on the story of Dune. The hero story wherein you have the young Luke Skywalker going on a hero saga and discovering himself and then vanquishing the evil. There has a lot of parallelisms as well to young Paul Atreides, who I found out is also going into through a hero's journey of growth from the young successor into what hopefully will be the new leader of the Atreides in this fight. And I don't even have an inkling or understanding of what this fight is all about. I've read a few things to give me like a primer of sorts in what the conflict that exists between these houses of Harkonnens and of the Atreides, and why the Fremen are actually in the middle. And it was very intriguing. I found it very intriguing. It's a story that's been done a lot of times, but
Yeah.
it seemed like this one. When was the books published? Was it during the 70s or 60s? I have no idea. But the theme of what the original stories are is something that I actually found very, very intriguing, and putting it into the context of sci-fi. Because I only found out fairly recently that the reason why spice is so important is because it's part of what allows for interstellar travel in this
Yep.
sort of
That
future.
universe.
This future. And I only also found out later on these are humans. These are actual humans, and several millennia, like tens of thousands
Yeah.
of years in the future. And so I was like, wow, this is like Warhammer 40k vibes. We've gone and so much far into the future that disowned technology and gone back to the dark ages. No, it's not true. We do see some technology in it, and I'm just so intrigued because I think I'm at the point where I am ready for a new culture, new culture, to learn about a
New
culture.
geekdom.
A new geekdom, I guess. Not necessarily just like geekdom. It's more of just I'm so interested with the society that seems to be so unique, albeit being based on human society, tens of thousands of years prior. In this rendition, there were a lot of things that the breakdown sites have pointed out that I was like, wow, really? The entire concept of Bene Gesserit just intrigues me, right?
Yep.
So because there's like an underlying concepts of eugenics here, the entire idea of spice being this commodity that everybody's fighting over, very much like how oil seems to be nowadays, or Bitcoin,
And it's also found in the desert.
it's found in the desert. Yes. Let's go to the visuals. I expected this entire show to be brown, right? Because it's a desert.
Because
I
it's
expected it to
Dune.
be brown.
Wait, before we go to the visuals, I just wanna say you mentioned you wanted to check the date for the publishing.
Yeah, when
of
the one
book.
where the books published
1965.
was the first book. Okay,
1965.
there you go. I mean, this is the height of the Cold War, and so for him to actually come up with a story that challenges a lot of things that we still have problems today is I find very intriguing. So that's where my hype is. I'm really super intrigued of why this. I just wanted to touch base on that visuals. I expected this show to be very blue. I'm sorry, very very brown. So I was like, seeing all that color, and it's not. So, to be fair, a lot of the beginning, for example, the latest trailer has a lot of muted, grim dark colors. I don't know if that's the visuals of whichever. Apparently, in the beginning of the story, when they were introducing Atreides, the House of Atreides, it's just they were coming from their original
Their home world.
their home
Caladan.
planet, and they're moving to Arrakis, to Dune, because it's now their new sort of like responsibility.
Fiefdom.
Yeah, they've been told by the Emperor that, hey, now take care of this very important planet, because it's the only place that we actually get this thing that runs our universe, that runs our galaxy, our commerce and everything. And then apparently all shit breaks loose. And I was expecting it to be extremely brown, but no, it's surprisingly quite colorful. The blue eyes.
The blue eyes of the Fremen.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is a result of their being around the spice for so long.
Yeah.
Don't they use it? No. The Fremen themselves?
I'm not sure.
Ah,
It's well, yeah, they use it as a sort of hallucinogen.
Yeah. As
That's
a
what I
medicinal source.
understand. It heightens your perception. That's why it was so important to the Space Guild, the Spacefaring Guild,
The
guys,
Spice Guild.
the Spice Guild. Sorry, the guys who are responsible for actually interstellar
It's
travel.
basically a drug.
It's a drug. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drug that's also like it powers their hyperspace drive.
that was like
all purpose.
This is
Yeah.
an amazing product. Right, like, here we go. I mean, apparently, several thousands of years ago, there was some sort of jihad, and that
In
was
the
word-
future, this is not a go. In the
Oh,
future,
a go in the lore of Dune.
Of Dune. Yeah.
They decided, hey, we're down with artificial intelligence, down with technology and all that. Oh, by the way, we still need something to travel faster than the speed of light. And then suddenly this magic spice comes out. Like,
yeah,
wow.
which they discover this entire planet
Filled with
where they can actually mine it or harvest it.
Yeah.
And you know what actually surprised me? How, at least it seems to me, how because of the visuals that I've received up until recently have always been around the Shaya Hulud, the sandworms. So I always thought that the main reason there was any conflict in this story was because of the damn worms. But it doesn't seem
Well,
to
in
be
a
the
sense, you can
case.
say that. In yeah, not yeah, because the spice
It's
is because of
generated by
the
them.
sandworms are generated. The sandworms generate the spice.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah, I
they
mean, plainly
poop them
speaking,
out.
I know there's this entire process around it, but it's
Yeah.
what they it's their poop.
It's the
Essentially,
guano.
it's their guano. There you go. Which is still poop. Um, it's useful poop.
Yeah.
But I always thought that it's because these giant things were like. So I actually always thought that it was like a Tremors um, story.
Which was probably also inspired by
I'm pretty sure.
the sandworms of Dune.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. So that's where my.
But they're
hype-
not that big.
But they're not. No. Oh no. The Tremors. The what are they called? There's a specific word for them. They actually can get big, but not as big as the ones we've seen in the trailer. Which
Yeah.
look amazing, by the way. So that yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly my height level is fairly high as well. What do we expect about the plot here? This is going to be a tricky question, considering that apart from Joel has the one with the most knowledge of the
Yeah.
books. I mean, what plot are we expecting, Paul? What do you think?
For me, I think from what I've seen with the trailers, it looks like you have this protagonist, Paul Atreides, who is at the moment trying to figure out what's happening to himself. Because we have some scenes in the trailer where he says he has these visions in his head.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah. So clearly
trying to
something's
figure out what's
happening, but he has no idea what it was. Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, their family, their house, is plunged into conflict because of trying to I guess, secure this planet. Right? So, and he's trying to choose. He's basically up with all of these things that's happening. He's trying to choose. He's trying to make a decision on what he wants to do, and then he meets a girl. So it's very complicated, but ultimately I think it's going to be a story about him and his decision, like what he decides to do.
Okay, I see.
So it looks like it's a very macro storyline,
Yes.
but it feels like from the trailer it's very focused on him. Just has a lot of moving parts, a lot of characters behind the scenes, in front of the scene, if that's a phrase, trying to move along this whole story. But at the very center of it all is Paul Atreides, and trying to basically become the person that he's supposed to become.
Right.
And I think that's ultimately what it's gonna be about from the trailers. I'm not sure.
Oh no,
but
that's
I
all right.
think
That's
from
all
the
right.
trailers,
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Any actual, well, as far as you've read,
As far as what I've read,
as far as
from what
you've
little
read.
I've read, I think that if they are really faithful to the source, it does focus a lot on Paul Atreides. But not but yeah, Paul Atreides in the sense that he is in the middle of this this conflict between the Atreides and the Harkonnens, because they're like traditional enemies. Those two,
Yes,
they're like
right.
the House Lannisters and the House
Starks.
everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
Stark,
else.
Yeah.
It's just that the
Yeah,
Starks.
the Starks. Well, yeah, Starks and Lannisters.
Yeah,
So yeah,
tend to be.
it's that. It's basically that. And it's about how the books, the few chapters I've read, it really focuses a lot. A lot of chapters are devoted to Paul Atreides. But it also it also talks about the importance of the spice trade and everything, how the spice trade affects the politics, the intergalactic politics. I mean, I'm not sure how the book is able to tackle it, because in Star Wars we get a glimpse of how intergalactic politics is run.
Just a
Yes.
just a glimpse, though.
But-
Just a glimpse. Yeah.
I'm not sure how in depth it is here, but Yeah, the importance of the spice and arrakis in the context of the politics of the intergalactic politics and everything that goes on uh, behind the scenes, right? So it yeah, the Lannister versus Starks metaphor is a little good because it actually also is sort of like Game of Thrones.
Mm,
Like you have this ongoing story, but there's a lot of political intrigue and subterfuge that goes on behind the scenes.
right. Okay. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
my take on it is very similar to Paul's because I obviously the only thing I can base off of is in the trailer, and the amount of time they focused on this young leader is very telling. So I mentioned earlier how it seemed it's noted that stuff like Star Wars was had a lot of influence from the books, the Dune books. So I see some similarity with Luke's story with what Paul is gonna go through, which means he's gonna go into an adventure, he's gonna meet people, and he's gonna discover himself. But I don't think it's gonna
And
be
he's gonna
that
find out
happy.
that like the main Harkonnen guy is actually his dad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! If they even lifted that, that would be that's gonna be a bit disappointing on George Lucas's side, because that plot twist really got to me
Yeah.
when I was watching what was this? Return of
That's
Return of the Jedi.
no, it
Oh
wasn't.
no,
no Empire. That's
Empire,
Empire
Empire.
Strikes
Strikes
Back.
Back.
The ending
Yeah.
of Empire
Yeah.
Strikes Back. That twist just really got to me. So if they George Lucas lifted it from here, I'd be kind of disappointed at him. But I think we will be following something similar. Exactly how Paul is, that he'll be making decisions along the way. He'll probably make a lot of wrong decisions, and people will probably die. Um, I see Duncan Idaho, which is Jason Momoa's character,
Oh
dying.
wow.
Fairly like halfway through as a result of one of his wrong decisions, maybe. Um, just because he, I think it seems like Duncan Idaho's character is the Ben Kenobi
Ben Kenobi.
character. Either him or because I haven't seen enough of
Brolin. You
Brolin's
don't think Brolin
character.
is the Ben character?
Well, that's the thing. It seems like these are two characters that if we combine them becomes Ben Kenobi in the Star Wars parallelism. Because what was the name of Josh Brolin's character? Because he was the one who's training. He
Fear.
was like the master
The
swordsman.
Fear what? I think
Of
he's the Fear what?
he's the master swordsman of the Atreides, so he's obviously tasked with teaching
Well,
Paul the martial
Is he the
skills.
Yeah, he is.
He's like the martial skills, right?
Yeah.
And he reminds him like, okay, do the, you can see that fight scene that they were doing with really flashy um, personal shields. And then you see the
Sorry, yeah, he's sorry. Just to, he's Gurney Halleck.
Gurney Halleck. Okay, there you
Brolin's
go.
Gurney Halleck.
Um, and he seems to be the one who's teaching him the hard way, the taskmaster way of okay, these are the things that you need to remember. You have to do this, do that. Whereas Jason Momoa's character is like the older brother that he was looking up to.
Yep.
And we see this combination in Ben Kenobi to Luke Skywalker as a mentor, but at the same time as a friend. So maybe there's this kind of relationship that it's gonna happen. I'm expecting it to occur. Then there's obviously that relationship with Bene Gesserit. I think this is one of the earliest trailers, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna test you now, and put your hand in this box. And don't move.
Because it's like a very iconic scene even in the 1984
Oh, maybe that's why.
film.
Maybe that's why. Was it very similar to the 1984 version of how they depicted that particular scene?
It's similar to the book actually.
Ah,
The whole thing with the needle and then the box, all of that. Yeah,
and this is
that's
very
exactly how it went down.
this is exactly how Paul. This is why what I believe it's a series of we're gonna be following his decisions, because one of the things that he had to do is that, okay, here you go. I'm gonna put your hand in this box. It's gonna hurt like hell, but you're not supposed to remove it, because if you do, I am gonna kill you. Right? And so he's gonna be forced to make this decision of like he constantly has to remember that my hand's probably being eaten by something, but I have to focus on whatever this needle is because it's gonna kill me, right? So it's going to be a very painful hero's journey, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, this is just the first part of this is like half of the first book.
Yeah, because I've read that part of the book. Yes, it
This
happens fairly early.
I'm like, no, I meant the movie that's gonna be coming out is just the
It's the
first
first
part.
book, I think.
This is the first half.
Is it
Of the
entire
first
first,
novel.
book or a half
I'm,
of the
I'm not
first
sure.
book?
I'm not sure. I have.
Okay.
I
From
mean,
what I've read, I think, yeah,
wow.
it's probably not. Yeah, I don't know.
Lord of the Rings only had 3 books. And each movie tackled most of the books. Granted, there was an extended edition. But
Mhm.
half of the first book? Wow. I mean, how much stories there gonna be? Um, this is perfect time for us to segue to our theories. I mean, I don't know if Paul has any theories. I know I don't.
I actually know. I was looking at this. I was trying to write down the notes for this, and I was looking at. I kept looking at the screen, and I couldn't write anything because I was so hyped up to finally catching the movie that I was so excited. I was just focused on the feeling of getting to watch it for the first time.
Gotcha.
I wasn't able to write anything and
Any theory on
initial
who
theory.
will win? Batista's character or Momoa's character?
or Momoa. I
Drax or Aquaman.
I have a feeling Drax is gonna take this one. I have a feeling Drax
Really,
is gonna
by
take
sheer eloquence?
this one. Because he will just stand there and become invisible.
Nobody will
Yeah.
notice him. I see what you're saying. He seems so intense. He never talked. What was his character's name? He's the Harkonnen, right? Freyd.
Yeah, he's the
Freyd. I think Freyd Rautha is the naming here. They,
Rabban
Um,
Harkonnen.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Before we move on, I just realized that I've seen these two together in a TV show already.
Yep,
See.
they're on C on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's a Momoa show. So Batista actually
But
shows up.
Bautista
Ah.
joined the second season.
Wow.
First season.
First season?
Yeah, he was there first
Gotcha.
season.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Um. So you reckon it's gonna be if they do have a showdown, it's gonna be because he seems intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems extremely
That
intense.
bleached,
But
that bleached
okay,
look and all.
but I have to preface that statement again by saying I think that Batista's character is going to win, but I think he's gonna cheat to earn his victory. Like he's gonna
Because
come
he's
up
the
with some
villain.
underhanded tactic
Gonna
to
throw
get to
sand
catch
in his face.
Momoa, to catch Idaho off guard.
I
Sand in
learned-
the face. You know what? Whenever I see, so I know that sand in the face is like it's an unfair tactic, but because of Squid Game, I now formally say sand in the face is a proper legal tactic to do.
According to Krav Maga, it is. Right?
Yeah, because you do anything to
do
survive.
anything to survive. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's an actual martial arts.
Yeah.
So in my case, I have no theories about this apart from Paul making a lot of mistakes. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Mistakes.
I expect him to be making mistake after mistake after mistake before he gets to the point where he actually says his soliloquy that fear is the mind killer. I really love
I am
that.
Paul Atreides.
that speech.
Hear me roar.
Yeah. Ooh. Fears, actual fears. Um, i- is that soliloquy something he actually says out loud, kind of like same as how, the you remember that to death drawing up again from Lord of the Rings, how Theoden has that to death speech. Is it the
Hmm.
same thing, or is this happening in his mind?
I haven't gotten
Oh, gotcha.
there
Okay.
in the book.
I'm assuming-
Nothing has happened in the part that I've gotten in the book. Well, a little bit has happened,
the
but
box,
nothing big.
the box
Yeah,
in the
nothing
finger,
big.
right? The
Yeah.
box in the hand.
See, I
Nothing
think he's gonna
big has
feel that
happened yet.
he's not gonna die, but he's gonna be found wanting still, right? I mean, I just think that it'll be, if this is part one, he's going to be the young, inexperienced. He won't be brash. I don't think it'll be brash, but I think it'll highlight how young and inexperienced it is. It will lead up to that build up for him to be the great character that he needs. That people are expecting him. Apparently he's supposed to be some sort of savior character in the books. So,
Is he supposed to bring balance to the force?
something like that.
He's bringing
Yes,
balance.
balance to
To
the
the
Atreides
spice.
and the Atreides and the Harkonnen. But I mean, yes, he's some sort of like deity as far as the Bene Gesserit is concerned. So
Well, I did get to that part.
they were explaining
yeah,
what that is all about.
they are explaining that they created the Bene Gesserit. They sort of implanted, or they implanted in the minds of the Fremen this prophecy of a one who is promised. And supposedly Paul is like Paul
Atreides.
checks a lot of the things that were prophesied.
Oh, okay.
See. Again, very similar to the one who brings balance to the Force.
Yeah,
Right.
and even
Last
to
Jedi.
the Wheel of Time, the Wheel of Time series.
Yet another IP.
another
that I have no geek
similar,
creds on.
another story with a hero's journey, where there's a young kid
Right,
who's
yes.
who's prophesied to be like the one who will save everyone.
If I'm going to read the Wheel of Time, I'm gonna need another 13 years.
Yeah, 1 year per book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Is it even finished yet? At least Dune is finished. As far as I, understand.
I think they already did. I mean,
Okay.
because of Robert Jordan's passing, his son finished the
He
book.
actually finished the book. He actually put dot on the last sentence. So yeah, any theories from the Yi, who is the Mr. Pull?
Well, for me, I mean, I've using Paul's terminology, I've prefaced. I'm going to preface my theory based on what I mentioned in my hype level.
Right.
So you've got all of these guys from Marvel properties, and you've got these guys from DC properties.
Yes.
So I
Oh,
actually
no.
think that they are variants of their characters in the MCU and DC character in the DC universe.
This is the
They're
amalgam
brought
universe
here.
occurring.
This is the amalgam universe. It was all because of Kang. Kang the Conqueror is gonna show up in the end.
I did
And
not
he is
notice
going
that.
to-
You did the last minute change of your
Yeah, I changed
notes.
because Mephisto would have been too weird. He couldn't have been able to do that. But Kang, because of the variants thing, so he would
Right.
bring in
Fit
all of
much
these guys.
much better. Okay, we
Right?
know who to ignore for the upcoming discussion. For our upcoming discussion for when this show actually comes out. But that is it for our pre-watch episode. This is clearly a massive adaptation, and there is so much to discuss about it. The movie releases on the 22nd of October in the United States and will stream day and date on HBO Max. We will then be doing our raw reactions episode shortly after all of us have managed to catch the movie, and then our full discussion probably about a week
VPN
after
is the key.
that. Yeah, exactly. We hope you tune in to those episodes and continue hanging out with us. Till then, bye.
All Atreides is Kang. All Atreides.